Here's one big
as they
thing
change
with
work.
atmosphere that we've kind of talked about even this week some that I think would be big for disc golf and could be implemented tomorrow is removing the accessibility to the pros.
Mm-hmm.
At least controlling the accessibility of the pros.
Mm-hmm.
If you show up right now, a lot of times player parking and VIP parking is the same lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times the warm-up area is roped off, but then the walk from the warm-up area to the first tee is not. If players go to other parks, if they don't have designated warm-up areas in some of the other parks, so people can come up to them then. During the round, there's not designated fan areas. Mm-hmm. Fans are just kind of crowding around you to where every single tournament I've ever been to, there has been issues where the TD or one of the crowd control people has had to tell you, like, I need the whole crowd to take 3 steps back. Y'all are getting too close. You're inching up way too much. I need you to step back. Mm-hmm. And then immediately after the round, it doesn't matter how you play. It doesn't matter if Paul just lost. Like, let's say 2014 when Ricky lost in that playoff that I was just talking about. I guarantee you people were coming up after and talking to him and wanting pictures and autographs. And I guarantee you Ricky was signing them and taking them. Because
he knows if he didn't, he would get flamed.
If you're not, you're a jerk. Mm-hmm. That's the last thing Ricky would want to do. If Paul loses in 18 or whatever in Georgia, he made this comeback but never couldn't get to where he topped Ricky. I was with him. People were asking for pictures and stuff, but the dude just lost Worlds. Like the
2017.
And Georgia was 2017.
He beat Bars.
Oh, Bars was 2018. You're right, 2017. But Worlds is like the tournament, and for Ricky and Paul, especially during that era, they were the guys going into it, and you just lost it. It's over, and you don't even have time to let it settle. Like you're just crushed right there. The guy just hit a putt in your face. You're crushed. And people are coming up and asking to sign it. And if you say, look, man, not right now, I don't want to take a picture, you're blasted on Facebook as a jerk. That makes no sense. What it should be is the PGA's here is the VIP tent or whatever, however they want to call it.
It's a fan signing.
Yeah, and then if a player wants to after the round, they show up there. That's where you meet them, get the picture, sign it, whatever it is. If players are, if the guy who just won, maybe that's a requirement, he has to go there. Every other player, it's their choice.
I think it's twofold. I think one is on the player side. Not that I've heard of, but there hasn't been any sort of player safety issues happening. I think all it takes is one weird thing to happen for stuff to change real quick. But besides the fact, I think from the player side, it would be nice for the players to be able to have the option, right? There's nothing in any sort of player contract when they go to a Disc Golf Pro Tour event that says they have to do anything outside of actually playing. Mm-hmm. If the Disc Golf Pro Tour wants to add in, hey, you have to do media, hey, you have to do a fan signing or stuff like that, that's something that the Pro Tour's got to discuss with the players. But for most of these players, the only thing that they need to do is show up before their tee time, play the round, finalize their scorecard, sign it, and then leave. That's it. The other thing, though, I would say and like you were saying, I think some players, it would be nice for them not to have to worry about, man, if I don't do that, this guy coming up to me and asking me to sign something and I don't do it, oh gosh, what's going to happen? It'd be nice for them just to not even have to go and put themselves in that position.
So that shouldn't be on the player, especially with COVID this year. That was a big thing. Is even at tournaments where fan interaction was allowed, players weren't supposed to be signing autographs, and they weren't supposed to be taking pictures. As a fan, you were kind of told that, but there were so many players that felt weird about it that they broke it to where when, and Paul was one of the people that he stuck to it. He was not going to do it.
Yeah.
And so, because part of it was also Discraft had told Paul, do not do it. It was a player safety thing because it's a COVID risk to someone hand you a Sharpie and a disc or whatever, which that makes perfect sense. But when there's players out there who are this guy wants my autograph, it puts a player in an awkward situation.
Correct.
The player shouldn't be the person having to look, Trevor in the eyes and be like, look, man, I can't touch or sign your disc. If you want to take a picture with me, I can do that. Right. That's the first time it kind of hit me of it almost, because Paul would say no and people would immediately go well, so-and-so signed my disc. Or, well, so-and-so took a picture with me. What am I,
Yeah.
Well, so-and-so did this.
You don't want to put your players in weird positions.
And I'm sure Paul wasn't the only one. I'm sure Ricky was facing the same situation. Paul's just the only person I saw. And, every time, it was kind of an awkward moment. Because Paul's what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't sign it, but then he's like, well, so-and-so did. Well, so-and-so did.
And I would say, did you have a point to say? Did you want to say something? Okay. No. So I would say on the other side, the flip side being the fan perspective of it, if you think about it this way, if I go to an event and it doesn't really feel like there's any sort of like, you can't go here, you can't do this, you can't, it kind of takes, and when we were talking about the prestige, it kind of takes the prestige away a little bit of it. And I'll give you two examples. One, now I'm going back to golf. When I would go to like a PGA Tour event, right, and I would just get a normal access pass, I would really only be able to go on the grounds and be on the side of fairways, behind tee pads, basically anywhere where the ropes are. I gotta stay on the other side. So when I would go to a PGA Tour event, I would be doing media for the PGA Tour, and they'd give me an inside the ropes pass. Now I'm in a position where I can get closer to the players. I can hear what they're saying. I don't have people in me. There's a separation between the two.
Yeah.
When I went to the Tiger versus Phil match, which going into it, they build it up as like, this is going to be a sick event. There's going to be barely anyone there. You guys are going to be up close and personal. Because I went there for a brand deal. But other people went, like, paid stupid amounts of money to be there. Mm-hmm. There were so many people there. Like 1,500 people, which isn't really a degree. It's not a lot. Mm-hmm. But 1,500 people watching two people when there isn't any sort of, like, you can't go here, you can't go there. It was miserable. It was not fun. Like, there was just no organization, and it just didn't really feel like we were watching something incredible. You know? You go to a play, and all of a sudden they just allow people just to go and, hey, sit wherever you want. And people are just, like, going up and sitting on the stairs leading up to, like, the stage. And, like, people are, like, standing right in front of the stage, and people are going... Like, when you can just do whatever you want, it just, I feel like to everyone else, it takes it away.
Yeah.
It'd be weird showing up to a concert to see Lady Gaga, and I pull into the parking lot, and then all of a sudden Lady Gaga pulls next to me. Exactly. I'd be like, what the heck is...
And she walks in through the same door as you.
I'd be like, yeah, exactly.
You're like holding the door open for her walking in.
I'd be like, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of that atmosphere.
That's something I was going to say is like, I feel like a lot of what we talk about, it would be.
If I open the door for Lady Gaga.
I feel like a lot of what like Trevor and I talk about, and I've heard you talk about it a lot, and a lot of pros that express their opinions talk about, is making disc golf more professional or taking it to that next level.
Yeah.
But how is anyone else going to treat us more professional as players or an organization if we don't do it ourselves? If we don't treat ourselves as professionals, if we don't treat ourselves as a professional tour, and if we don't carry ourselves as a professional athlete or even media or anything, how do we expect anyone else to look at us that way?
Mm-hmm. It's very true.